And a victory for Nigerian women at the courts. But will that victory translate to reality? That's the big question on the lips of many Nigerians after the Federal High Court in Abuja ordered the government to comply with the 35% affirmative action for women. Justice Donatus Okorowo said the federal government had the obligation to implement the 35% affirmative action, accusing past government of acting in breach of international treaties on women participation in government. Justice Okorowo added that the national gender policy is not merely a policy statement, but one that must be backed with requisite action on the part of the government. He said the 35% affirmative action, which entails appointive positions for women to ensure inclusivity, must not be merely on paper, as Nigeria is signatory to international treaties, particularly on those entrenching the rights of women. And joining us via Zoom to discuss this is Mary Ikoku. She's the founder, Women Emerge. Good to have you join us.
Nice meeting you again. Thank you.
So let me start by congratulating you. You just got listed on the amongst the 30 women of influence globally, which it goes to show what women are capable of doing. So congratulations on that, Mary.
Thank you.
So let's get into the conversation, which again is around women and this affirmative action. This case has been on, I understand, since 2020. Litigation has been on since 2020 on affirmative action for women in the country. But we have now recorded victory, and I say we because I'm a woman as well. Victory in 2022. What do you make of this, and how do you think that this will play out when it comes to the other bills now being asked to be reconsidered at the House of Reps?
Thank you. And okay, so basically what this is a landmark judgment, first of all, and it also makes it quite apt that it's coming at a time when Nigerian women occupied the National Assembly, demanding that they rescind their decision on the way they roundly rejected the 5 gender-related bills. So this judgment is an affirmation of what the Nigerian women have been fighting for. And for much to say, it's coming at a very good time. And then talking about implementation, I think that is where everyone's concern should be on how the implementation is key. And we're asking how the Nigerian government, of course, who the women of Nigeria sued, are going to take this feedback from the court. And one significant thing for me with this judgment is the fact that it wasn't coming from, the judge is not a woman, and that this is a judgment by a man. So you won't say it is women patronizing themselves in court. So this goes to show that there is a very big issue that we have to deal with, and to be able to close the gender gaps that exist in the country. So 35% affirmative action, which already was a national gender policy of Nigeria of 2006, is being brought to the front burner. And I hope that all key players will take this and run with it. And then the importance of going to court, if I may, is to say we understand, apart from implementation, that when people saw us, all of us at the National Assembly protesting, they were asking what other means. Do you have other, apart from advocacy, there are advocacies going on right now at local communities and local government areas by Nigerian women, well coordinated. Conversations are going on. Again, we also told people that we are in court, and this judgment also reinforces that women are not just occupying the National Assembly, they are doing other things.
They are doing more. Absolutely. And I want to touch on the two things you mentioned. First, the judge is being a man, which was quite interesting because his language was very stern. I read through some parts of that judgment, and his language was so stern that you would think that he was really he was really angry about the fact that, look, how do we have 44 ministries, and out of those 44 ministries, you only have 6 women occupying positions in those 44 ministries. But we know that the federal government cannot employ or appoint all women solely. It also has to be done by the state. So what are we doing in terms of mobilization at that level to ensure that this judgment trickles down to the state? Because the affirmative action also this states that the states were involved as well.
Of course, I mean, even as someone who is coming from a state with no single woman in her state assembly, Abia State, that also says, for me, I think that one, the interpretation for what it means for the constitutional amendment that failed will be quite interesting, because we want to see how they are going to interpret this landmark judgment, because it now beggars the question of how the National Assembly threw away all of those agenda bills, including 35% affirmative action. So how the lawyers and the National Assembly are going to interpret this law, it would also be something we're looking forward to. And then in terms of advocacy, we have put in women across the states of 36 states plus FCT. They have been working in the last 1 month, consulting with key stakeholders, from traditional rulers to everybody who needs to be engaged on making sure that all that the women are demanding are brought to fore and really acceded to as a matter of emergency. But one thing I want to touch is that people can occupy NAS, people can will go on TV many times. Thanks to the media, we've come and have conversations around these burning issues. But the importance of going to court to seek these interpretations, even though it may be slow, tedious, like you said earlier, it's been since 2020, tedious, tasking, demanding, but it is effective in addressing the issues at the root. So that's what the Nigerian women have done, and really kudos to all the women of this country, and kudos to Falana Chambers for this victory, because without their legal expertise and the justice system, the court has been on the side of women, saying this is something that must happen and that the law backs it up. I mean, it's amazing. It's beautiful. It really is the best news ever since 2020.
And it is very important to have something that is binding on the federal government, that we can say, look, this is now a law, so you have to obey it, even though it was actually a law with affirmative action. But at least the court has reiterated that fact. So it's important to see, or it's interesting to see how this will play out from here. Thank you to you and all other women who have taken a lead on this. Founder, Women Emerge, Mary Ikoku.
Thanks for having me.